Did you know this is not a beer? I'm hiding myself. I can't see myself showing this. Can you see this?
I can see a back, so it looks like a beer.
Yeah, it's been over a month. I haven't had a drink of alcohol.
You're kidding.
I'm not.
Whoa. So is that one of those fancy non-alcoholic beers?
I've been spending the last month sampling the plethora of non-alcoholic beverages out there, and am pleasantly surprised where we've come in 2022 with this process. It's great.
Can you give a little quick review? So tastes the same, looks the same, walks like a duck, sounds like a duck type of thing?
Nothing will ever taste the same,
Okay.
right? That the je ne sais quoi that alcohol puts in a beer is there for sure. But there's things that are like super close that really do satisfy it. Weirdly, the two closest I found to like a traditional lager would be your Coors Edge
Oh,
and your Budweiser Zero. Like, all right, the big corporations have kind of done it. But, I'm having a Beck's. There's all the local independent brewers like Ocealag and stuff who do like their blondes and stuff. So stay away from the reds, the reds and the Guinnessy type things where you really need that bite of the alcohol.
Yeah.
But the blondes, the lagers, all those things, no problem. And I got to say, because I felt like, for what this is worth, the beer was choosing me instead of me choosing the beer. When you get to that, we used to do this. That let's not drink for like a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I remember.
Just to kind of reset the system. Oh, I feel great. Feels so good.
Well, I gotta say, we haven't been doing the non-alcoholic. We've just been doing the non-alcohol period. Like Maya more than me, but basically she did the what's it called? The dry February, is that what it's called?
Oh yeah.
The whatever. So
Yep.
she did that. I guess tomorrow's the last day. And I just by association, I'm doing on a weekend type of thing. But just by that, you don't like I had one beer yesterday.
Yep.
That was Saturday. It was the last beer in the fridge. We haven't bought any more and not planning to. Like it's just feel good, sleeping better, dreaming.
Oh yeah. The dreaming's
good.
The dreaming's good. That's the two. I mean, there was the psychological factor where it's like, okay, for me, I really like beer.
Me too.
I like the beer.
It's also winter, so it's easier, I think.
Yeah, for sure. So sometimes, the beer makes the choices for me, and that's not a good thing. The other is that I've been on this kind of, weight loss, body recomposition journey, and
body recomposition.
Yeah, and the last little hurdle is often alcohol. That's the one that is like that next level you want to hit. You're not going to do it if you're having more than like 2 or 3 drinks a week. I'm like, okay, well, that's annoying. So I quit, because I'm like, I got to have something. I got to have something on my lips. And this has worked out really well. Not only has it helped in that area, but as you mentioned, the rest has been phenomenal. Like, I sleep like a baby now. And I know because I have a sleep tracker that shows me my sleep scores up. And my mood, Ati has pointed out 100 times, like, you're in a way better mood.
I wake up in a better mood. I mean, like just moving around. I mean, I'm not like I'm getting old, not that agile, but I'm more agile. My water retention is way down as well. Like it's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice. And again, we've talked about, I'm not quitting, but I think if I do a Friday, Saturday type of thing, and then that's just an option, that's taking the decisions away. Like from Sunday to Thursday, it's not an option. So what other options do I have? I have realized this about myself though. Maya and I were talking about this last week. I am a drinker in the sense that I just, like you said, I like to have something on my lips. I like to be constantly beveraging. That makes sense. Because I've noticed, take the beer away, but now I'm thirsty, and I have the habitual habit, I guess, of drinking water or something. So I'm always sipping on something. I drink a lot of coffee, a lot of water, a little bit of Coke Zero.
Right.
But I am a drinker in that sense.
I always have a coffee, a water, a sparkling water, a beer, a something. I'm the same way. Baby needs his bottle. And I mean, it's good if you're hydrating with something that's not alcohol all the time. And the funny thing is, my brother came into town for work, And he's like, "Hey, we're going out for drinks in Mexican." I'm like, "Yes." And then for a moment, I was like, "No, wait, I don't want to go out for drinks." And this was about a month ago. And we went out, we had some drinks, and it was like, "Ah, this sucks because, now I'm
Mhm.
now I'm drunk. Now I'm
Well,
now I'm
I
drinking
had
margaritas. It's Monday."
I had a beer on Friday for the first time in, like, I don't know, at least a week, probably more, and after,
Mhm.
like, a half a tall boy, I was feeling it. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, oh."
Yep. So I'm with you. This isn't like, "Oh, I quit drinking." But, it's definitely put the reins back on and said, "Okay, well, where does alcohol fit into my lifestyle at 46?" You know? And, it has a different place for sure. Um,
And it's also like, this sounds a little bit whatever, but like a reward. It's nice to have. It's something that you can look forward to. You know, the James Clear method of like making it, adding it on to something afterwards.
right.
If you have it on a Friday, going into the weekend, have one beer, maybe two, and it tastes better. Having a beer every day it tastes the same, and you kind of get sick of it. I think, at least for me.
I found way back in the day, prior to the legalization of marijuana, I used to be like a cannabis guy. I like to smoke weed, right? Not, back when I was in my late teens, 20s, that was, something I enjoyed.
Hmm.
And then one day, like, I just didn't like really being high anymore. And that's never completely changed. Like, I don't really enjoy being stoned.
Hmm.
And I'm starting to feel like from more and more, I don't like being drunk, which is, I guess, good,
Good.
but for me, I can feel that kind of shift now
Yeah.
where it doesn't feel great on Wednesday evening for
No.
me to
No.
be a little bit drunk and watching TV and then wondering what's in the fridge.
And the pandemic has just made it a lot easier, and that's it's a choice. It's not really easier. It's a decision. But when you're home all the time, you're not going anywhere, and there's no reason not to. I find myself rationalizing it more and convincing myself that it's a good idea. And it
Right.
doesn't matter if it's Wednesday because you're home and you're going to be home tomorrow too, and whatever. But no, I found a lot of really nice pattern in the last 30 days in the wallet too. Because if you don't live in Canada, you may not know, but alcohol in Canada is like
Liquid gold.
How much are those, non-alcoholic? How
The
much
same
those run you?
price. The same
Okay.
price. That's the thing
Okay.
is I'm not saving any bank on my beers for
Okay.
sure. I'm still buying like a 12 box or a six pack, or I walk down at the store to get two beer like I always have. So yeah, no significant impact there.
Okay.
Where I do see the impact obviously is we mentioned rest, but the second is then my feeding habits.
Mhm.
Right, because obviously you make
Ooh,
different decisions when you're not drinking alcohol, um, at night, right? Because I'm a night eater.
snacker.
Love my food. Yeah, I'm a snacker, so this has really helped with that too. But since we're talking about substances, and
Yes.
I don't mean to dominate this whole
Oh,
part of the
I
show,
like
but
substances. It's good.
I've been microdosing psilocybin for the last 3 weeks. I've been one of those douches that that uses little bits of shrooms that I buy from Vancouver. So
Mhm.
there's like it's this gray market, measured capsules or gummies or what have you with dedicated schedules of
Oh, wow.
consumption. So for me, I'm on a 5 on 2 off. Like every weekday I'm on shrooms. Now that sounds funny, but it's not like I'm at the hallucinogenic level of mushroom and psilocybin consumption. It's a very subtle undercurrent, which I have to say has had a significant impact on my overall sense of well-being in the last 3 weeks, despite
Mhm.
on the brink of world war,
Mhm.
second year of pandemic.
Mhm.
You'd think that not drinking might make you want to just die, but I'm feeling really good about a lot of things, and
Can you
I'm kind of
explain
yeah,
that for? Because 'cause I've had this conversation, I'm sure you have with non-Canadian friends and mostly American friends, and maybe in Europe they have these kind of things because they're kinda with it in that sense, but talking to friends who are in the US or in South America, Mexico, like, they're like, "You can buy what from Vancouver? You can do what? What is that?"
right. So there is, yeah. So you can buy, it's again, it's gray market. Vancouver's always been that the kind of the hotbed for gray market things that sort of sprout out of
Mhm.
Canada, no pun intended. So that's where a lot of the legalized cannabis kind of started. That's where, psilocybin and shrooms are really starting to mushroom.
Mhm.
And they're experimenting as well with decriminalization of some harder drugs as well to, facilitate a better system to help those who are addicted to those substances. So, anywho, in Canada, we're kind of chill about stuff and we like to play around with it a little bit. And you can get low dose psilocybin in capsules or gummies, as I'd mentioned, from Vancouver, sent in the mail to your house. The bottle's cute. It's a branded thing. It's not like some, hey, I'm Steve and I can legally kind of send you mushrooms on Craigslist. No, it's like a website with doctors and lab coats and like, and subscription services and stuff.
I know,
So,
right?
so we hit it up. We're like, oh, what the hell? Let's get some shroom gummies and just take like half a gummy in the morning on like 3 on 2 off for a bit,
Okay.
and it was great. And I'm
And you
like,
just
this
have
is,
a little relaxed day? Like, what and you how long does it last? What do you're fully functioning?
let me put it like, I'm not a THC guy, I'm a CBD guy. But
Okay.
let me try and describe it this way. Do you know, like, when you are meditating and you're kind of aware of your own thoughts, you're sort of sitting back in the seat and you're observing your mind
Mhm.
doing what it does non-judgmentally. Imagine if that's what you're kind of doing all day. You're just sort of able to take a different perspective. And I mean, not like I'm tripping perspective, but just like, oh, look at me. Well, interesting. Look at how I felt about that all the time.
Mm.
Like, where you have that little gap where you get to decide how to respond as opposed to constantly reacting to stuff that's going on. I'm digging it, man. I'm
I
really
like
digging
it.
it because what I'm feeling is that they're like the neural pathways in my mind are starting to kind of change a little bit, just in general. Because the 2 days off, which is right now and yesterday, I feel amaze balls, like so good, like up, positive mood, like I've been taking an antidepressant or something.
Okay. Alright.
There's something to this. I'll send you a link.
Please do.
Mind Men. They're not a sponsor, but I'll tell you, smart
Okay.
shrooms, good
Mind
stuff.
men.
Mhm.
Speaking of links, did you see the article I sent you there about, the old pickleball?
So,
Speaking of
oh yeah,
wellness,
oh
it's
yeah,
blowing
it's
up.
taken
About
over.
time. Like, thank God. I'm really trying to find places to play here, and I don't, seems like it's a bunch of old retired people, but actually it's taken off with the younger folk too. So
Yep, it's
I'm
hip.
starting to be part of the older folk. So
It's hip. I think
I
it's
love
time
it.
for us to consider changing out our old $6 paddles that we bought just to make sure that we would play and maybe get back into the graphite.
I want to. I
Yeah,
want to.
I went ice skating.
We did too.
You did.
We did too. I went on the lake. Lock. We were on the lake
Oh, you're one of
last weekend.
those.
Yeah. So we went up to the lock last weekend,
Yeah.
and it was like a perfect storm of super cold, but wasn't too much snow on the lake. So I got the shovels out, shoveled it off, and did some old pond hockey. It was real nice.
Oh my God, that's so Canadian.
I know. I
Yeah,
know.
that's great. I'm really rickety on skates, but I had a lot of fun.
I hadn't
But
skated in like 2 years.
oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I guess, yeah, because there's the pandemic.
because
So everything's been
I
kind of
mean, you
closed.
could go skating here. We've meant to this winter, just haven't got around to it. Or when we have planned to go, it's been like -30. We're like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not a very good skater, but I can get around the rink a couple times without
Mhm.
falling. I Does it always feel like your ankles are just kinda going kick, 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 like back and forth, back? That's just the nature of skating?
Yeah. So when you go skating, you realize that you have muscles in your body that you never knew you had. There are
Mhm.
ways that you put pressure on your lower half that it's sore and it's
Yeah.
wobbly and it's you. I kind of guess you get used to it. But the ankles are there. They're wobbly. You gotta tie up
Okay.
the skates and you gotta just. I don't think you just build the muscles. You're just gonna get used to it. But it's a little not so much supportive in that area.
It always feels when I first get on the skates that either I've got the wrong skates or I haven't laced them tight enough or I'm just kind of doing everything wrong.
Well, those all could be true too.
Yep. I don't know how to skate backwards and I would like to do that.
Okay.
And I don't know how to stop. So I think where we're at
Oh.
is it's time. We're talking about getting some lessons because we had a blast. We took the kid. Um, there's like Place Laval or Place Belle, which is like the Bell
Okay.
Center mini version south of us, where they have public skating. And it's great. So I signed up for that. It's like $5. You
Oh,
just
wow.
skate for a couple hours, like on a really nice rink. And then there's a bunch of free rinks around here, outdoors and stuff. So we're like, before we buy skates, let's go rent some skates
Mhm.
and make sure we're into it.
Wow, well, there you go. That's part of the issue, I think. It's like renting skis. It's like,
Hmm.
well, they get you down the hill, but it's not as nice.
I have a locker downstairs full of things like boxing gloves and squash rackets. Believe me, I'm an advocate of renting before buying at this stage in my life. Um, but I think we're at the place where it's like, I think we could use a couple lessons to really get the fundamentals of this down to feel secure about what we're actually doing.
It's the movement of trying not to walk on skates. I think that's what a lot of people do when they begin. It's like they try, and that's where you get wobbly. And it's really just you gotta stride and trust yourself to stride, and don't try and walk.
Right. And I personally have been trying to look where I'm going. Not to get Gretzky and philosophical about it, more like
Mhm.
instead of looking at my feet, like I never do when even when I walk, look at where you're going and it makes it a lot easier. And I found it's kind of like skiing too, if you don't let your skis get in front of you. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
if your skis get in front of you, you're gonna go back on your ass. If your skates get in front of you, you're going back.
So I couldn't teach someone to skate. I've realized this. Like I know how to skate, and it's kind of like a bicycle. Once you know how to do it, you kind of just know how to do it. But I really can't explain to someone. Like learning how to stop is really important. But if I would say, oh, you just gotta trust yourself and turn, and but like you can't say that. Like that's not good advice. You have to like.
Right.
I'm sure there's a technique that you can use to try and learn, but I don't know what that is. Go slow and make sure that there's someone to catch you the first time. Would
Right.
be what I would say.
I just let myself glide to something resembling a stop and then grab onto a board.
Yeah.
I'm good to go.
Try and learn to stop both ways because that'll be really helpful. Because what most people do, and I was like this forever, is that you only learn how to stop going one direction. Your dominant foot forward first. Most people,
Oh.
it's their right foot. So you learn how to stop with the right foot forward, but then in that moment where whatever public skating on a river, there's children around, and you have to stop the
Mm.
other way, and you can't do it. It's not a good recipe.
Interesting. And I want to someday be able to do that crossover thing where I'm like,
Mhm.
crossing like when I'm turning. That'd be cool.
That's where the ankles really get loose.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, this is exciting. Yeah, so we're gonna go back again on Wednesday because we had a blast.
it's fun.
We had a blast. Yeah, it's Canada still. It's
Yep.
Canada.
Yep. We got the sticks out, and we because at the lock when we were kids, we went up, so we have hockey nets around there. We got them out on the lake and got some pucks out, and we'll find them in the summer, I'm sure, in the bottom of the lake. But it was a lot of fun.
I think I'd mentioned on a previous episode that I was considering going to Canadian Tire and buying some skates, getting them sharpened, and just walking them up the hill like I do for pickleball, but instead go skating at the rinks up there. And now I'm 100% like this is just a great way to kill a couple hours
I
in
think
the
you
evening.
should. I mean, not to make maybe your squash racket you don't use, but your shoe size is probably not going to change. So you buy some skates, you'll have them, and then if you actually want to go skating, 3 or 4 times a year, you can.
Yep. And unlike squash, I can go by myself. So if someone decides they don't like it, we're fine. We're fine. So now we're seeing some loosening of pandemic rules.
Hmm.
I, for the first time in many years, am flying to the United States intentionally to meet somebody. I'm really excited.
Where
I-
you
I'm
going?
gonna- I'm going to go to Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh.
I've always wanted to go to Nashville. It's Music City. It's like there was a conference at the beginning of the pandemic that I didn't go to because of the pandemic. So I was really disappointed because I was looking forward to going to that city. So I'm going to
Mhm.
go meet Gregerson
Hey,
in Nashville for a couple of days.
love it.
I'm so excited.
I've always wanted to go to Nashville too. It just seems like such a really unique, very, very cool city. In
I
March?
I'm going in March, and this is where I was
Okay.
torn because Gregerson was like on the 19th. The Leafs are playing the Predators.
Oh, Gregerson said that.
Yeah, he did say that. And I was like, oh boy. But I've got Nowruz here that weekend. If it weren't the Persian New Year that weekend,
Right.
I was gonna text you immediately and go, we're going to Nashville to watch a Leafs game,
Mm-hmm.
which would be hot.
That would be
But it's
amazing.
but it's New Year's here. So we're doing that instead.
Okay. Fair.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
When I'm done with Nashville though, I have to fly through Toronto to get
Mm-hmm.
back to Montreal. I'm gonna come to Toronto for a couple of days.
You should.
Yeah.
Love to have you. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
I mean, apparently things are opening 2 days from now, and by then, hopefully, they'll still be open, so we can do some stuff, get
I think
some
yeah.
non-alcoholic beverages, and maybe do some skating.
I would love it. Tail end of March, I'm going to be in the T-Dot.
Okay, I'll write it down.
Doing whatever. Yep. So that's that. Oh, I'm going to go to Disney as well in May. So like I'm already starting to plan my US stuff. I'm pretty stoked.
That's good. We're do. I think we talked about this before. We're doing a Greece trip in May, at the end of May as well, middle of May.
Yep.
So we got that trip lined up, and yeah, it's an exciting time to be cautiously optimistic, I guess. But it's nice to see that things are starting to move forward, and it's we'll see how it goes. But it's exciting.
Let's hope that the unfortunate situation in Eastern Europe does not spill towards Greece by the time we plan a vacation there.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
That's more important than our little trip. So it will be what it will be.
I don't want to talk about the convoy.
Nope.
I kind of don't want to talk about pandemic measures anymore.
No.
No,
I'm the same. I mean, I don't think we can add anything that happened since our last episode, but I'm pretty sure the world has seen that. Everyone's seen it. Everyone's talked about it. I don't think we have anything to add. I don't anyway, that hasn't been said. So
I want to have a healthy conversation, perhaps at this point in the podcast, about transitioning the podcast. Because I thought about it, the last time we got together and we ended up talking a lot about, pandemic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of with the rest of the world. I'm sort of over it at this stage. I kind of want to talk about some other stuff.
I do too.
How do you feel about that? Are we talking like a name change, or what are we talking about here?
Ooh. We could do a name change. I mean, I think keep the feed just so if it's all in the same spot. But we could talk about a name change. I don't mind that. I'm on board with moving on. I mean, like not moving on in the sense like, but I think I'm comfortable. Lots of people are comfortable moving around, having a mask on, and just going about their lives, right?
Yeah. I don't know if we need to have a. I mean, look, we've said this before. So I think it'd be easier to flip back the other way again. If September, it all goes south again. Fine. Yep. But I don't want to spend my summer talking about something that everybody's always talking about anyway. Who cares?
Exactly. And there's no news like for us here. Like masks on, masks off. Restaurants are open, restaurants are closed. It's just kind of Groundhog Day over again. I don't have any like insight to provide on any of those things. So I like talking about skating and meditation and pickleball. So let's do that if that's what we want to do. Stuff.
It's just stuff. Okay, it's a stuff cast. We can do that. How's everything your way? Your family good? Everybody good?
Everybody's good. Everyone's doing well.
Safe, healthy, boosted, living.
Yep. Exactly. Yep. Check.
I'm going to see Disney on Ice on Friday.
Okay.
So, because we just before everything got locked down, I got tickets to Disney on Ice, and we took our then 2.5, 3-year-old niece.
Do you mean before it got locked down, like the original,
like the original lockdown, the real, like the hardcore first true, like what's going on?
Basically lockdown. 2 years ago, exactly.
Yeah, the Prime Minister telling everybody to buy 2 weeks worth of food. That lockdown.
Toilet paper. Yeah.
Yeah. We were all like crammed into a big arena. Who knows? We might have all gotten COVID. A couple of weeks later, that whole arena was a field hospital. So,
yep.
And man, we took a video of that thing, and that kid watches it all the time and wants to go back. So Disney on Ice coming through town. I bought a row of seats on the floor, right? Just right up tight we're taking a slew of kids and people and stuff. I think the Bell
Amazing.
Center is going to be 50% capacity. So what
Okay.
Disney has cleverly done is only sold 50% of the tickets available.
Oh,
So it's
well,
on. Yeah.
that makes sense.
And I have to say,
That's
I'm a little bit weirded out and a little bit nervous
yeah.
because it's been a while since I think I've sat in a seat in an auditorium with a thing that we're all collectively watching.
50% is a good number, I think. And this is a personal thing. Like I'm with you. Like I'm not against going back to these things. I want to go back. It's been 2 years and I have this bit of discomfort. But I know once I'm there, I'm sitting there, it's going to be a really good time and really fun. But it is like a thing mentally to kind of think about and kind of get over.
I'm getting the Amex pre-sale ticket notifications now again. I
Okay.
used to get those pre-pandemic where you could buy a ticket before they go on sale and you get a good seat to a thing. And as the concerts and comedy shows and events are starting to roll through, it's like, I want to do that. I want to do that. But
Hmm.
I'm really, really gun shy on this stuff because I don't know. I feel like I don't want to get my hopes up about it.
That's another thing because we've seen the rotation. I wouldn't shocked if we come April, May, June, pick a month, and things are spiking again. What was it? There was a concert that you had tickets. Was it? Was
Tool.
it? It was Tool. What happened to that?
It just got postponed and then it got canceled
Oh,
and then they refunded the money like months later.
oh, okay.
And Tool's been on tour uh, in those places where they don't think COVID matters.
Right.
So Canada is not one of those places yet.
Mhm.
If they come back to Canada, believe me, I'll spend anything to get to reclaim those seats and to get back into that concert because I really wanted to see that tour because it's so rare that they play and so
Mhm.
rare that they put out an album. But I'm kind of like just anything would be great right
I
now.
just
Any
need to
last
remember,
show.
like, because we went last summer when there were the first concerts here in Toronto. We saw the Arkells. That was awesome. That
Great
was like
band.
really fun.
Yeah.
Even just things that I haven't done in like once or twice in the last 2 years, like just a restaurant or even a plane was a big one for me when we went to Mexico, and I was like, oh, what's it going
Yeah.
to be like being on a plane? And it was totally fine. So it's just like remembering that these things are cool to do, and then they're good, and it's fun, and it's healthy, and it's exciting. It should be exciting.
I really miss live music a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now that it's starting to maybe open up a little bit again, this is the time where I'm not going to take that for granted anymore, especially, living so close to so many great shows all the time. Um, one thing I never liked about Montreal and I loved about Toronto was great to go see bands in bars and clubs.
Hmm.
Montreal does not have a good scene for that. We're
Okay.
kind of it's more frou-frou. We eat and we drink and we have poutine and we go home. In Toronto, it's like there's something you go see. And I miss that. So I'd like to spend more time in your fair city too.
Well, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, enjoy some live music. If the musicians are even around anymore.
Yeah, well, that's a good question.
Yep.
I'm starting to get the hope again because we talked about this the last time, and we got the hope, and then the hope got taken away. But it's the end of February. We're getting into March. March is usually a pretty good weather month in Canada. April is usually back to shit, and then you
Yeah.
get into May, and we're back outside again, and that's good. That gives me the hope because pandemic is bad for everybody all the time, but especially in a winter setting, it's really bad. Once you get some nicer weather coming through, it does open things up a bit.
Double whammy. February is tough as a Canadian without a pandemic. That's just a hard month.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's so short. Because it's like, God, just end this. Yeah, with the pandemic, it's just been nasty, nasty. I'm hoping that we're on the cusp of the greatest summer ever.
Whoa. Summer of George.
Summer, yeah, it's the summer of George. I want now. It's not like I want to go around and sneeze in everybody's faces anymore, but it's like there's a couple things that it's like we got to start doing this stuff again, and it sounds like that's where we're going with it.
Hmm.
It's going. I know we said I don't want to talk about the pandemic, but it's pretty hard not to.
Well, it's the pandemic the word just might change to just life because this is what it is. And
Yeah,
at some point, which everyone agrees, it's just everyone disagrees on what the point is. Do we have to like go back to restaurants, and you have to go back to just, I don't want to use the word normal because I think that ship has sailed. There's no normal, but just reliving and having fun and socializing and seeing people and whatever that looks like to each individual person, whatever. But just, it's okay to get outside and do things. It's all right.
Mm. You in education, I'm sure. Can't wait. People in rooms.
I mean, selfishly, I love the teaching from home thing. It's real nice, but unselfishly, a bigger picture, yes, it's great to be in a classroom with people and just feel the energy. I do
Yep.
miss that.
I miss so many things. Okay,
Not
well,
beer.
I don't miss that. All right. I am Corey.
And I'm Woody.
And this is the IsoCast. Or maybe it's not, maybe not. I don't know.
Or it's something else.
Stuffcast.